I'm Sofia Farah. I've been a Melton Fellow since 2005, and I'm Palestinian in origin. I'm a psychologist professional, and I lived most of my life in Temuco. I don't know if that's a good of presentation or not, or what you expected to hear, but if you have any more questions about myself, I can answer it afterwards as well. Okay, some aspects of this presentation that I want to tell you beforehand is that I'm going to take the time because I don't want to speak too much about myself or my presentation, and I want to hear your questions, your interests in what I'm saying, so I'll try to make it short. And as an Oscar presentation, or what I've seen, people always thank other people. So I really want to thank Marcus, Patty, and Lars for pushing me to do this presentation for you, because I wasn't very sure of doing it, and it took me a long time to decide to do it. So especially Marcus for his patience. And also I want to thank also my friends for inspiring me to do this, and for Palestinian people for letting me do this. So, okay, so I'm gonna move this, and I want you to know, I want to know if you can see everything. So if you can't, I don't think I have access to the chat, but unmute yourself and let me know if something is going wrong, okay? Okay. It's weird to speak without feedback, but I'll continue. Okay, so, oh, okay, good. Okay, great. So what this session is about, it's, as Marcus said, about my experience in Palestine. I went to Palestine 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago, and I don't want to talk to you too much about that experience, but what I've learned from that experience, and what can humbly you can learn from that experience, if you can learn something, hopefully yes. So what I realized is that experience gave me other experiences and gave me other possibilities to do other things. So I wanted to show you a little bit my path on achieving those things, and how that experience led me or allowed me to do that. So the session's goals, what I want you to explore, or what I want to happen after the session is over, is to ask yourself, why get involved? I mean, in anything, right? I try not to make this session so much about myself and my experience, but how can you, and again, humbly, you say it like that, like in a very humble way, how can you get inspired by it and also do what you want to do with what you find passionate about? So another point is find your passion, and of course, you're not going to do it seeing my session, or maybe you already found it, but just want to share with you that I did find my passion, and how I did it, and how hard it was as well. And also I wanted to I want the session to be what can I do, or what way can I help, because I think that it's questions that you ask yourself after you find something that you're really passionate about and that you really want to do, and you say, well, what's next? What can I do? And I want in a little bit, or in some way, to help you answer that question. So so this is pretty much it seems a lot, but I'll try to achieve those goals in this session. Hopefully we will do it together. And okay, so this is a lot of images now that I see it, but it's a little bit of my before and after. If you see the first 3 pictures on your left, yeah, you see it on your left, or, well, I don't know. It's me dancing, and it's food. And maybe I should tell you that I come from a Palestinian family. My dad's family is Palestinian. And my first approach to that was Palestinian dancing, and of course food, because if you don't eat Palestinian food, then you're not Palestinian. And And of course, those things made me feel closer to the culture, to the heritage, but it didn't do much for what was happening in Palestine. So of course, I had an identity and I felt good about it. I also felt that something was missing. Like, you cannot, I mean, of course, some other cultures is if you're Italian origin or other different origins, no matter what, you can feel close to food and you can feel close to culture and that it's fine. But when you come from a Palestinian origin, you cannot avoid the point that Palestinians are suffering and that they're having well, I don't want to go into politics because that's not the point of my presentation, but you can avoid to think or to at least take into consideration that Palestinians are going through a terrible time and that their human rights are being violated. So you cannot only stick to food and dancing and culture because that would be extremely selfish and not aware that there are things that you're supposed to do and that you have a duty with your family and the people that or where you come from. And of course, my family came here and we were very well, but other families didn't have the same luck. So I think all Palestinians living in diaspora have a responsibility to get involved and help Palestine. So the right side of the slide is what I've done afterwards. What I've done is get involved in different organizations here in Chile that are working for Palestine. Among them there's Amal. It's a campaign that we did last year. It's called Save Palestine. Of course, the activities of the Fundación Belén 2000 that I will tell you just in the next slide. And of course, the main objective of all those groups is to help children in Palestine and also, well, the families, but mainly the children. And I kept food because if you don't eat Palestinian food, as I said, you're not Palestinian. So even if I have a deeper and stronger interest, I still love Palestinian food. Just to make a small joke. And I believe that in taking things that you find interesting or you have certain interests, you need to take them into passion. You need to find your passion through those things that you're interested about. And I don't know how you do that exactly. It's not easy, but I think that there's always things that approach you to that end. Like you have one small experience and you say, oh, okay, this is interesting. I want to do that a little bit more. And then you find other things and you feel like you're being pushed somewhere. So when you take decisions, I believe that you're doing it because of a process that it's been sending you in that direction. And for me, after being interested in dancing, in food, in culture, I came upon this program that's called Know Thy Heritage, and it's organized by HCF, which is Holy Land Christian Ecumenical Foundation, and also co-sponsored by Fundación Belén 2000, which is located in Chile. And with them, I applied to this program that allowed me to go to Palestine in 2013. And that experience, I think it was life-changing, as it says in the slide. And that made me go from before to after, and really caring about Palestine, but not just caring, but really, really caring. So I think that even if you don't experience something like that, there is always like a breaking point or something that makes you change your mind. And I don't want to go too further on that, but recently I read a book of Israeli general, and he was a great patriot of his country, but he had an experience that changed him, and after that he started advocating for peace among Israel and Palestine. So even if you don't realize right now, maybe there is an experience that changed you and helped you decide what you're passionate about, and you're going to dedicate a lot of time and effort to hopefully you do that and advocate or work for that thing that you're passionate about. And for me, it was this experience in Palestine. So there are some pictures of the group. of us. And for me, it was that I moved to Santiago. Sorry. Wait. Okay, so I moved to Santiago, and I decided that I wanted to work for Palestine, that I wanted to have a full-time job that would allow me to do that. I wanted to know everything. I wanted to live here in Santiago because most of the talks happen here, so I didn't want to miss any. I wanted to volunteer in everything I could. So good thing is that I lost my job, so I was free to come to Santiago, and I say it like that now. Of course, I lost my job. I said this is an opportunity to give up everything and move to Santiago and see what can happen. So I had a lot of last year, and what I decided to do is that I was passionate about Palestine. I wanted to do something, so I did the following. So what I did is that it's quite funny because I'm not saying anything new. I think I'm not saying anything new, but every time I heard it, it it didn't make much sense. It made some sense, but it didn't make all the sense. But when it happened to me, when I had a click, then it all made a lot of sense. And I remember hearing a talk. I always forget his name, but okay, it was a grassroots organization in India. Maybe Daniel can help me. His name was okay. I forgot, but he was talking about grassroots innovation in India. Okay, wait. And he was so passionate about what he was talking about, and I was so inspired by him. And I was thinking at that point that I wanted so much to have something like that, that I would feel passionate about, and that I will want to talk about it like that. And I always felt like I was on the verge of achieving it, but nothing happened. And I was looking for, like that guiding light to get this, I don't know, like I believe in God, so God will open the way and I will see a light at the end of the road. I will say, yes, this is it. And that didn't happen because those kind of things probably don't happen, or at least not to me. But when I was in Palestine, I realized I felt home. I realized I wanted to be there again. I realized that everybody looked like my family, so I actually felt at home. And I wanted to be there. I wanted to do things with them. I wanted to work with them, for them. I wanted to be surrounded by Palestine all day. And what I did is document myself. I changed all my books and I started to really, really read, very thick books and with a lot of references. And they were very heavy to swallow, but still, I wanted to know everything. I didn't want anybody to not to know more than me. I wanted to really know, and I became part of the football club. So you can see on green, that's the football team. I've been to the stadium, and we have tons of fun. I love to watch people, talk to people. I go to every talk I can, and if I can suggest you something, that you do the same. If there's something you're passionate about, something that you really like, something that you're interested on, try to do as much as you can related to that. And it can seem like hard work, but it's not. When you feel that all the pieces start to fit, then it's not something hard to do. And for me, it's like I get paid for doing what I love. So it's actually a very win-win situation. And that worked for me. I don't know if it will work for you, but for me, it's working pretty well. So I'm really excited about that. And what can I tell you about my experience is that if you don't have doubts, then it's not working, because there's always doubts. Am I doing it right? Is this the good path? Should I be doing something different? And of course, what you have on your side is that you have will. Because when you really feel something, it's good for you and you feel happy about it, then the will pushes you through and pushes you forward. And even if you have doubts all the time and they're there, then still you have this will that pushes you to go forward. And I think for me, that happened. And you can tell if what you're doing is really something that you want to be doing all the time, and that you feel that it's something that you should be doing, then doubts definitely will be there, but they won't be paralyzing. They will push you to go forward. And one thing that I've heard in a lot of presentation, a lot of Melton sessions, a lot of international session is failure. And I've always been really afraid. I'm going to make a personal confession here. I'm always been really afraid of failure. So it made sense when people said it. And so many successful people tell you about failing and how hard it was and stuff like that. But you never really, well, I never believed them, because I would say, how come these great people, and it doesn't make any sense. But now I realize that, yes, it makes sense. I mean, if you don't fail, it means you haven't been trying. So I'm still afraid of failing in what I do. Imagine that I'm working in a cause that it's about Palestine, for Palestinians that have been occupied for 67 years, and they have, before that they've been occupied by somebody else, and before that by somebody else. And the last Amnesty International report says that human rights last year was the worst year ever. I mean, the conditions in not only in Palestine but all around the world for refugees, for people in war zones, it's worse than 2013. So that means that when you work with or for human rights and you see a report that says that we're doing worse than we did last year, of course it's discouraging, right? But that doesn't mean you don't continue working and you don't keep doing things. It means that they need you more. They need you to work harder this year, so things change. And I don't particularly agree with Winston Churchill in many things, but I think this expression that he used, or this sentence that it's shown here, it's a good way to show it. Like I did follow Mike's example and search for failure online. So maybe you've been to my session or you haven't, but she searched for certain things and she showed some things she found on Google or online. So I want to thank Mai also for that inspiration. And what I saw was these things that I found it interesting. Failure is related to risk. So if you don't risk, you don't fail. But if you don't fail, it means you're not taking any risk. And of course, success means that you're going from failure to failure without losing enthusiasm. I think that's a good key. I mean, for me, the Palestinian cause is something that many people say, why you do that? I mean, nothing's going to change. And I say, of course, things are going to change. I mean, I've seen change in kids, and I've been there, and I've heard stories, and I see the reports that we have. And I'll tell you a little bit about my work later on the presentation. But it's easy to get disappointed. But if you really think that what you're doing is a good thing and you're really convinced, then those things just keep you working even harder and keep you motivated even more. And of course, for me also, a good incentive is to never forget what you're doing it for or who you're doing it for, because that keeps you pumping, you know, work and energy. And for me, it's the children, and for me, it's Palestinian people, and it's because I'm related, and of course, I feel people in Spanish say that the blood, you know, kind of pushes you or kind of attracts you, right? I don't know if there's an expression in English to say that, but we also say blood is thicker than water. So of course, for me, it's Palestinian children, and I must be very honest. When I see other kids suffering in the world, I also care. But when I heard a Palestinian kid is suffering, it touches me even deeper. So definitely, there must be many things going wrong in the world, and of course, you might be touched and you might do things for them, but not all of them become your passion. So I invite you and to share, of course, in this session as well if you want, what you're passionate about, and what keeps you working, even if you don't see the results right away, or sometimes what you get back is not what you expected. And what would I say to do next? Well, for me, it's advocate big time. And as it says there, advocate some more. And I remember my friend Fabiola Pinilla, she's also a senior fellow. She works for Herbalife, and everybody knows that she works for Herbalife. She makes sure that everybody knows. And she does that because that's a good strategy, right? If you're searching for a job, I've learned that too, you have to tell everyone that you're searching for a job. If nobody knows that you're searching for it, then you're completely wrong, because it's your friends that are going to help you find a job. So at the same time, the same thing happens with Advocate. Everybody should know what you're working for, what you're doing, what you're passionate about. You should make people sick about what you say, but not arguing, not just saying, giving good, valid arguments, good statistic, knowing how to tell things, knowing how to tell the stories, allowing them to hear you. So don't make people sick, and in the sense that they don't want to hear you. Of course, that doesn't make any good. But for example, and I showed this, so you can read what it says, and it's quite impressive. At least for me, it is quite impressive. But I haven't talked to you about them or the children in this presentation before, but I just wanted to let you know something like that. And that's something that happens every day in Palestine. Palestinian children are in prison in Israel. So that's the example that you should do with your own passion subject. And what I suggest that you do also, that I did, is to inform yourself with unbiased media. For the Palestinian case, I don't know if it's well written there. Maybe I have some spelling problem, and I'm sorry about that. Unbiased, yeah, probably. I'm sorry. And then collaborate with local and global initiatives. I always was really afraid of doing anything on my own, so I always try to collaborate with other people. And then I realized that you can also lead, and don't be afraid to do that. I mean, with the 100 global acts, or yeah, something, yeah, 100 acts, I've realized that there's so many simple and good things that you can do. You can put posters somewhere, you can make a session with your friends, you can invite people that don't know much about the subject and talk to them. I've done, for example, some of my friends wanted to know what happened last year with the bombing in Gaza, and I made some recordings in WhatsApp and sent them to them, so the ones that wanted to hear could hear a little bit more of what I've known. So things like that can help. You can go bigger if you want. You can go smaller if you're afraid to do something bigger or you don't feel inclined to do that. But I found that there's many ways to lead and many things that could be done that are helpful. So if you want to work alone or if you want to work with others, that's also good. But when you find other people that share your passion and you work with them, then it's, I mean, there's nothing you can't do. And for me, at this point, okay, I wanted to tell you that I started as a volunteer where I work, which is Fundación Belén 2000. I went every week, one day a week, for free for a year until I got a job there. And while I was searching for a job, I worked in a food restaurant. And you can guess what kind of food restaurant I was working in. And of course, it's an Arabic food restaurant. So even if I didn't have a job, and I can say it now because I do have one, I started working in this food shop, and I got Palestinian people buying there, and I got to meet other people, and I saw important lawyers, and I spoke to them. I tried to find any opportunity to be around Palestine, around Palestinian food, around Palestinian people, and I didn't get sick of it. I couldn't get enough of it, and I think that things start. It's like a puzzle. every piece starts fitting in this puzzle, and you start seeing the bigger picture. And for me, it was like that. So yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to tell you. I work in the Palestinian organization. It's called Belén 2000, and I'm head of the social programs and the fundraising. So I get to supervise the medical missions, the scholarship the foundation sends to children, and I'm also able to create new programs, create new ideas to help. And I was inspired by the Indiegogo campaign done by Manuco School, and I decided also to share with the people at my job to have an Indiegogo campaign. So if you feel like you want to do something about Palestine, you want to help us, you want to get more information on what I'm doing, I invite you, if you want to be part of the Indiegogo campaign that we're doing to help a project in Palestine with Palestinian children, or you can do international advocacy or local advocacy if you want information, if you want resources, or if you want media that are saying facts and not lobby. I can help you with that too. And I left the third one open because maybe there's something that you want to do with Palestine that it's not there. It's not something I'm proposing. But if you want to do it, I invite you to do it. I invite you to read more about Palestine, what's happening in Palestine, how Palestinian people live. And of course, if you want to do something else and you're passionate about something else and I can help you find it, and if my experience can help you, please feel free as well to contact me, and I can tell you a little bit more on how my experience was. Okay, so I think I'm done talking, and I want to open the discussion for everyone.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sophia. I think you had a great overview. You mentioned a couple of things that are necessary to achieve something like you did. I think one thing that you implied but didn't make explicit is the persistence. I mean, you told us that you volunteered for a full year every day and kept building connections, making connections until you got the job. This is really something that I want to emphasize as well, this kind of persistence, and yeah, go from, as you said, from failure to failure without losing your enthusiasm. So I'd like to open it up to everyone else who would like to raise questions.
Make some comments that now I'm able to see the chat. And thank you, Marcus. It's Anil Gupta who was talking about the Honeybee Network, and he was a great inspiration for me. Thank you. And you also posted that Palestino is one of the big football league team. Well, they're actually not big, but this year they're International Cup, and we've used that as advocacy campaign. So people are going to a football match, but they're also talking about Palestine. And any way that you can advocate, it's good. I mean, everything helps. So yeah. So thank you, and we can open the discussion.
Yeah. Who would like to ask a question to Sophia? Please just open your microphone and shoot your question.
Don't be shy.
Hello, Sofia. This is Daniel here.
Hola, Daniel. Hi.
I'm aware you said that you didn't want it to go political in your presentation, although I have a political question for you, and it's the following. What do you think is going to happen to the entire region of Palestine in the future if the situation remains as terrible as it is right now?
First, gracias, Daniel. Thank you, Daniel, for that question. It's true, I said I didn't want to go political in the sense of making such controversy, but definitely advocating for Palestine and for Palestinian people, it's definitely a political act. So yes, still we're talking about politics. And concerning your question, I have a tendency to be optimist, and I've had some friends living in Washington, and what they've told me in some maybe some extra official way, I don't know, but what they're saying is that slowly, very slowly, Europe and the US are starting to move towards the Palestinian side a little bit more than before, and realizing that they cannot longer look the other way, because it's too obvious that social media and people from their own countries are expecting them to do something about Palestine, to take action, and that the United Nations stands up for Palestine and things change for them. So I think I'm being very optimistic, but what I've seen is that Europe has much more inclined to pressure Israel to change their policies, and what the US is doing is waiting for Europe to do so they can join and say, okay, yeah, we'll support also the Palestinian cause in the way that Palestine has a state, a recognized state, and all that implies. But the US doesn't want to be the first to say it because of the relationship with Israel. So what they're doing is expecting Europe to become closer to Palestine, and then they jump into that or follow that example. Does that respond to your question, or you want something more detailed?
No, that's definitely, it's a good reply for my question. Thank you very much. And congratulations for winning yesterday's match at Libertadores Cup.
Oh, yesterday?
Yesterday, yeah.
Oh, yeah, thank you. We're very excited. Thanks, Daniel.
Thanks to you.
So somebody else wants to know something, or I can keep talking? I mean, I love talking.
I have a question for you, Sofia.
Okay, great.
I like the slide that you had where you were talking about the doubts and how that the doubts are always there, they're coming, and you need your willpower to overcome them. Can you give us a concrete example of a doubt that almost made you stop?
Oof. Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm thinking how much about myself I want to talk about here. So I know you're gonna record it and a lot of people can hear it. So I want to be careful with what I say. But I definitely went through a personal rough time last year, thinking how can I do what I want to do. So I was doubtful in many ways, thinking, is it worth it? Am I doing it right? Is this really helping Palestinian people? I think that's the doubt that I really, that was the hardest. Like, why try so hard? Is this helping? I mean, is this what people want? Is this what it would help them or not? So I think that was the doubt that it was harder for me to answer. And also, what should I do? Should I work in an NGO? Should I go to Palestine? But then again, I know that the unemployment rates are huge in Palestine, so more young people living in Palestine, taking Palestinian jobs, it didn't make much sense. And then I said, well, should I study something so I can help with a more educated, in a more educated way, or should I just start now? I mean, there were many questions that I had to answer. Which is the best place to do so? Which is the best platform to work from? So there were many doubts in my head. Is this right for me or not? But what I really knew all the time, and I didn't, it helped me not to doubt anymore, is that I wanted to work with Palestinians, for Palestinians, and that I wanted to do it on human rights. And I wanted to focus on the humanitarian help more than in a more political, in know, in between, how you say that? Like political, well, I'm doing it with my hands, of course you cannot see it, but not go so confrontational, so I can reach more audiences or more people that maybe sometimes are reluctant. So I knew what I wanted to do, or at least I knew what I wanted to achieve, and then I knew what I wanted to go, to have a goal, in the sense that I wanted to help Palestine and that I wanted to do things for Palestinians. So all the doubts were always there. And of course, it was a long shot. I mean, I could have got the job, as I couldn't, I had it. So that was also an option, but I took the risk and it worked. Luckily, it worked for me. So yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for being so open about that. I think I asked the question and I wanted you to become so personal because I think that is something that many people struggle with, and probably some of you who are listening now have struggled with it or are still struggling with that. And I think it helps me to know that in these struggles I'm not alone. And thanks, Sophie, for sharing that.
Oh, definitely, Marcus. Last year, I was in the US and with the Melton Foundation, of course, in the GCC, and I participated in a session with, of course, I forgot her name, but she's the director or the head of Hollaback Foundation. And okay, somebody help me, please. What's her name? Okay, well, I'll search for it. But maybe somebody put it in the chat. I don't see it. But okay, doesn't matter. But she was very frank, very open to talk about failure. And actually, at that point, I was struggling a lot with failure. And she's an awesome woman. She's done a great job with her organization. But she started with a lot of rejection, and she was very honest about it. And she said, yeah, I was at the supermarket crying because people turned me down for the 10th time or something like that. And I was like, wow, this awesome woman doing great things today, recognized by all media or by many people, and having a huge organization around the world. She had to struggle with a lot of rejection. So that means that, I mean, great people, and I'm not saying that I'm one of them, but I mean that people that I admire very deeply have struggled with rejection and, of course, with failure. So when people told me about it, when I saw it in other people, I would say, yeah, right, like some failure, but not really, really failing, right? But then I realized that no, some people that do great things in the way found really, 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 you know, a lot of rejection and a lot of failure. So it made sense for me at that point, but it didn't make sense before.
Yeah, maybe a small addition to that from the last couple of days, from my experience of the last couple of days, I talked to a number of really outstanding, extraordinary people who have achieved extraordinary things, and keep looking at my Facebook posts. I will, about every other day, I intend to write a little story about one of the people that I met. Every single one of them told me so much about, you know, all the stupid mistakes they made and why the first 10 versions of what they tried did not work. And in retrospect, everything seemed so obvious and why didn't I think of that in the first place? But the failures are important because, yeah, that's just human nature. We never think about why things go wrong before they do. We have to experience, we have to experiment, and through the failures is how we actually improve ourselves and our projects until they are at a point and until we are much more certain. For example, Sophia, you can say now much more certain that what you are doing is helping Palestinian children. One of the major doubts that you had. because you tried a couple things and now there are probably still doubts every once in a while, but you have eliminated some of the doubts through trial and failure. Is that capturing it?
Sorry?
Is that somehow describing the process that you went through?
Yes. I mean, definitely. I think if you're not doubting, then it means that you're probably wrong. I mean, doubt, it comes with knowledge as well. So, I mean, I don't want to say that you're wrong. I mean, it sounded not so good, but I mean, it's like when you're so certain about something, then it's suspicious because, I mean, things are this, I mean, for me, this world is uncertain in so many ways, and there's so many things you could be doing, but you're taking decisions every day. So probably you get into two paths all the time, and you have to take decisions or make decisions. So doubt, it's definitely there, and the possibility of failing also is there. And I'm I still have some doubts, of course, but I'm very certain that this is what I want to do. I don't know if it's the right thing to do or what I should be doing, but it's definitely what I want to do and what makes me happy. And I show you a picture of who I'm working for, but definitely you should know that I do it for myself as well. I mean, all of us have the sense that we want to feel that we're doing something that makes us happy. And I believe that it's a right for us to live a life that is happy or it's makes us happy. So I'm doing it for them, of course, but I'm also doing it for myself. And I know that this is what um, makes me vibe, makes me want to wake up in the morning. So, of course, you should do it for others, but you should also do it for yourself. And again, Marcus, thank you. The person that I was talking about, it's Emily May. Okay.
Yeah, I also had to dig deep into my brain until I remembered the name. And actually, I started typing Hollaback in my browser, but as I was typing it, I remembered.
Good, good. Maybe I want to think that my presentation wow you, and that's why you're not making questions. But I would love to at least, if you don't have any questions, maybe some comments about on how to make it better. So, anybody feels like saying something, or should we leave it until till then, or make it maybe a two-way sessions? Okay, I get a hint when I have it in front of me. So maybe I should just thank you all again for coming, for being present on a Friday evening or afternoon. I really appreciate that you took the time to listen to this presentation. And please feel free to write, call, Facebook, or whatever you want to do. So I can tell you maybe a little bit more about what I do, my experience, or the things I'm working on. Maybe you want to join my Indiegogo, well, not mine, but the Indiegogo campaign that we're going to do with the foundation, inspired by the MF. So maybe you want to join, you want to help, or maybe you want me to talk to you or share something, or you want to share something with me. I would love to do that. I would love to hear what are you guys are doing, because probably you already found what you're passionate about and you're doing great things, and I really want to hear it. So I thank you again for attending this session, and thanks to the MF for giving me this opportunity to share with you this session. So thank you, Marcus, and thanks to all of you.
Yeah, I want to give the thank you back to Sofia for doing the session and for not only talking about what she's doing, but also who she is, making this a very personal presentation, just like the cause is very personal to her. I want to repeat Sofia's invitation. Write to her if you have comments, questions, get in contact with her in every possible way. If you want to share things with Sofia, let me also add to that. share it with Sofia, but consider to share it also with other Melton Fellows, and that is get in contact with me so that we can together set up the next Melton Share session that you will be doing. I hope that we get this momentum going with presentations like the one that Sofia has been doing right now. And with that, I want to wish every one of you a relaxing weekend. Keep thinking about the topics that Sofia raised and stay in touch with her, with us, with the Melton Foundation, and with the global citizen inside of you.